You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Big Brother After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Big Brother After Show.
Ah, yeah! We're in! Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. Big Brother After Show, live in studio. I just want to watch you dance for a minute, in sync and all.
We try.
Hey, I'm your host, Ryan Hooks, coming to you live on the panel today. Keetin Marchi.
Hi guys!
James Wallington.
What up, everybody?
Got those moves. Frankie P signs
The
all
Frankie
day.
P sign.
That I did not do.
Hayden.
Dude, I have so much we need to talk about this week. I'm like, there's a lot going on in Big Brother world.
I do have a request. Is there a way we can
Zach?
turn down the earphones a little bit? Like, I feel like I'm yelling in my own ears.
Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Whoa.
Thank you again.
We're humans too, and we have ears.
We are humans too. Something that they forget often as in the Big Brother house.
That they're not really humans, that they're just pawns in this evil manipulated game. All right, so what did you guys think since we kind of ended last week before this happened about the double elimination last week?
Sad face.
Jocasta and Hayden got voted out.
Broke my heart.
I mean, I wasn't bummed about Jocasta. I was kind of...
Right, it was kind of expected.
But Hayden, I felt bad about because I feel like there was so much more him, Nicole, and Donnie could have done together. I would have liked to have seen the three of them really take over.
It was sort of, I think it was so rushed and there was no choice, and then all this stuff was flying around, and then Caleb just made a split decision.
And that's why I think alliances, if you're in the numbers for a double eviction night, it's usually
Always
in your
favor.
favor because they're not going to get rid of an alliance member that quickly
Yep.
unless it was pre-planned.
Absolutely.
So it was unfortunate that Hayden was in the minority.
It's surprising, though, that no one suggested or mentioned that double eviction was coming. Like, you had to figure that it was coming at some point. You know, obviously.
You think they would have been planning
Yeah,
it?
you think they would have been planning it or
Yeah.
thinking about it at least, or mentioned it, or showing them mention it at some point, but they didn't. So Jocasta and Hayden went home. Yes, I know, sad clown.
I'm
but
like Hayden. Ugh.
I'll
And
say
then
this.
Nicole then got pissed off.
oh yeah, the whole
went off.
the
on
whole start of
Frankie.
Sunday's episode was just her flipping out.
That's why I'm glad Hayden went home over Nicole, though, because I think Nicole's more fun to watch. Than
Well,
Hayden.
and I don't think Hayden would not have snapped on people or called people out. Nicole would, and I appreciate that Nicole did. It might have been bad for her game, but
Well, she really had nothing to lose at that
no,
point.
she didn't.
You know?
No, absolutely not.
And that's why I think Nicole, as a super fan, I think also from editing, from what we've been given on the episodes, we've kind of seen her as more of like the little shy, cute girl with her little glasses and her accent, but we really got to see her step it up and grow a pair,
fiery.
like Christine said. So I loved it.
Well, it worked out good because her and Hayden both called out Frankie and Christine in this week's episode, so it got a lot of doubt floating around the house. And I think this week was probably the most exciting week so far, with everything that was going on with, you know, alliances and who's on what side. And
this week was nuts. Weeks like this is why I love Big Brother and why I stick through it, through that lull at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just because you know you're gonna get a week like this
Something
where
crazy.
Julie said it today. I'm jumping ahead a lot, but Julie said it today to Nicole. Like, you know, you can go, like, the twist that they have this season is so that, you know, you could go from winning head of household to leaving that week in the same week. And it was kind of neat that we were actually, I hated that it was Nicole. But it was cool. And you know, hats off to the producers that, like, that was they started using that new game strategy, I guess, element in it.
And that actually worked.
And it
Well,
did,
this is what I don't get is, I mean, just talking about the twist a little bit more, is why are the nominations of that HOH safe? Like, why do they get immunity all of a
It's not,
sudden?
it's the other ones.
I mean, like,
For the whole week,
since
they can't get voted back up.
That to me doesn't seem very fair. Like, I feel like they should be just as vulnerable because they were nominated for a second, but now they're back to not being nominated. So why do they get a grace period of, I'm not going to be nominated?
Well, I mean, I think it's fair because they do compete and win a competition against other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the HOH that puts them up is then thrown back in the pool because her people that she put up won against, you know, her thinking they wouldn't.
Sure.
And it makes you think about who you're going to vote for each week to put up to be in the battle of the block. I mean, if you think about, I'm going to do this person and this person, but they're going to win, you clearly have to consider your votes and who you're putting them with, and it forces you to make decisions that you maybe wouldn't have to make normally.
Right.
That's what I think. But what do I know? I'm just the host of a Big Brother after show here at AfterBuzz TV. Hey, it's okay. So I do like all the doubt that this we created with everything in the house, and Zach is obviously being Zach and stirring up the pot. So one thing I do want to talk about this week, I just want to talk about the people in the house, and cause obviously our opinions change on a daily episode basis of what we think about people, and what has happened so far. So at this point, or through this week, we conclude this week, what do you think of the games of the people? So what do you think about Frankie? Because Frankie obviously does later win by himself in the competition.
This is the thing. I didn't really like Frankie in the beginning, and then I really, really liked him. And then he started really rubbing me the wrong way. And I was really excited that the rest of the housemates started figuring out that, Frankie is controlling a lot of things and lying to a lot of people and playing a lot of different sides, so let's get him out. I loved that was kind of what was going on. And then when I give him major props for winning Battle of the Block on his own, major props. That looked really difficult. He is obviously a huge competitor. He's obviously a super fan of Big Brother, which I love. But I think he lost me this week when and you knew at some point it was going to happen, that he was going to come out and say that he was Ariana Grande's brother. But I just felt like the way he did it was so tacky. And so it just really, it didn't, I mean, even the people who he was telling, the other house guests, seemed like they didn't care, and it was so gross to me how he did that.
It seemed very ego driven.
It was,
so
and he's like,
ego.
I've got 1.5 million followers, and I feel like Derek's like, I thought Ari was a boy, they didn't, the boy alliance didn't even seem to care, and the only reason that Victoria cared was because she's famous, not even that she even knew who she was.
Yeah.
And I agree that it was kind of tacky in the way that he did it. And he was his face, he was so excited for them to be excited and praise him for it.
And then they just kind of sat
And they
there.
just kind of all sat there and stared at him. So I agree. But I do, appreciate the fact that he won, the competition by himself. Because it was a hard challenge. But do you think now, with him throwing his game out there and admitting all these truths to everyone and kind of coming clean, does he have a chance with some rebuilding to potentially still win?
No.
Well, and this is the other thing. When he was like, I'm playing for charity, I mean...
Zach, how do you compete with that? I just
well,
go home.
And Zach is crying. I was like, where did this come from?
Zach got super emotional.
Well, I think Zach got his heart broken. I think Frankie broke Zach's heart this week. I mean, Zach is obviously in love with Frankie. He got cheated on. But Frankie cheated on him.
The showman and Zanky is broken up.
Zach was heartbroken, but Frankie, because he is so great socially, he has now been able to get everybody back on his side again. And, again, props to him. But just who he seems to be as a person right now, that's what's bugging me. I think he's playing the game great, but he doesn't seem like a really, nice, I don't know. It's just... Something's rubbing me, really wrong about
James.
him.
It's been fun for me, only fun because I've not been on the Frankie wagon from the very beginning.
And that's why I started with Frankie, because I was hoping you'd have a lot to say.
Well, all I'm saying is people are now starting to realize just from comments that I've seen on Big Brother Facebook page and et cetera,
social media, Twitter,
is that they're starting to understand why it's not fair to cast someone like Frankie on a show where they decide to incorporate the Team America twist. Because automatically, because he has such a huge rapport with his sister being Ariana Grande, people are automatically voting for him. So the numbers are there for him to stay in any sort of twist situation.
Right.
Which
That's
to me, if I'm a
base.
super fan and I find that out, I would be mad at casting, because it's that's why I think Zach's outburst in his diary room
he was
was from a
screaming at the
genuine
camera.
Frankie's famous and he's here for this reason or whatever.
Yeah.
I might as well go home. How am I supposed to continue with that? But I don't think Frankie was as genuine as people might think when he said he's going to build schools in Africa. I think that was all game.
And I like that Derek called him out on it. And he goes around and talks. I was like, really? Who cares? Like, is he going to introduce you? Does it matter?
Yeah, because Victoria was like freaking out. Like Victoria was automatically Frankie was now this famous person that she couldn't even speak to. And Derek like pulls Victoria aside and he's just like, this doesn't change anything, Victoria.
Not at all.
He probably will never even introduce you to her. So like, don't think that'll do anything. But obviously somebody like Victoria is very easily molded and manipulated, and
she's very easily manipulated. So
especially when fame comes to it.
My last thing with Frankie is this: like, I know a lot of people out there think I just hate him for one particular reason or another. It's just, as a person in general, I don't think we would get along very well. I think he is very showy, and he knows that, and I think he's very attention driven. He does whatever he can to have the attention on him, and that's what he wants. And I'm probably going to get hate for saying this, but I think a lot of it has to do, if you have a famous sister, you want to find your footing. Growing up, I'm not saying I'm famous, but in high school, I was more outgoing than my sister. And so for the longest time, I didn't know this until after high school, she told me I felt like I was living under your shadow because you were in all these clubs, you were always on stage and doing things. So I feel like this is Frankie's way to find his platform, to be like, I want to be known as Frankie Grande. But he keeps saying, I am Ariana Grande's brother. Be Frankie Grande,
and he's
for
the
crying
older brother
out loud.
too.
No one cares.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting that, yeah, exactly, because he's the older brother too. So,
but I mean, great gameplay. He was able to turn the house around just a little bit. There wasn't as much of that hatred or dislike for Frankie. It all of a sudden kind of simmered down when he was like, I played a paranoid game
to take the hate off of everything that was going on. All right, so this week in the HOH, BB tournament, Christina and Nicole win, and they throw up Frankie, and they decide that they're going to throw the competition to help get him out. So I want to talk about Caleb next.
Caleb, why? Caleb, you could have just sabotaged Frankie in that challenge.
Yep.
You did not have to just sit down. Why didn't you just sabotage him? Oh, it makes me so angry.
Let me ask then, is there a respectability factor in the fact that he said, I'm going to not compete, he sat down and didn't compete? That he did exactly, he didn't say he was going to sabotage it, but he just said he wasn't going to compete.
It brings me back to episode 1, when we finally start to get to be introduced to Caleb. One of the first things he said was, I'm beast mode cowboy. I don't throw challenges.
Yep.
We've seen him throw more challenges than not this entire summer. So I'm not really understanding where his head's at in the game. He's not really playing the game. He's playing
the lackey.
Yeah.
This is what I thought. I feel like at the beginning of that challenge, when you saw that challenge, that looked like something you could not do alone. Like, honestly,
it was impressive that he did.
It was very impressive that Frankie was able to do that alone.
I agree.
So I'm sure in his head, when he saw that, he was probably like it's probably best in his head. It's better for me just to sit down and step back, and like that's all I need to do. But he should have at some
point
point
pushed
gotten
Frankie
up.
over.
I don't know if it's against the rules.
No,
at that
it's not.
But yeah, freaking sabotage him or be like, Frankie, you know what? I'm gonna help you. Like, I'm so sorry, and then sabotage him. Like,
my thought is,
what were you thinking?
Why didn't he just run up when it was the last ball
and
pull it and make it fall
and just keep pulling it,
and then make him have to get it back up there, because they would have got it in if he would have.
Because I think part of him really wanted to win that challenge. He wanted to go on that football outing. I mean, let's be honest.
You could see his
he just
face.
wanted to make it look good, and Nicole's eyes, like he was really throwing the challenge.
It made him look good because he threw the challenge in the aspect he didn't compete. So it wasn't his fault that Frankie lost, so he didn't burn any bridges there. But it made him look good all around for everyone, and he still won. So
And I love how excuse was like, it's your fault Amber's gone. I was like, oh God, here we go again. Amber.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And I like that.
I'll say this about Caleb.
My girl Amber.
He's easy on the eye. I'll say that. He's
Absolutely.
a little weird, but he's nice to look at. Yeah, he looks good.
I do like the shaved head. I think it adds to his kind of like beast mode.
Right? Beast mode.
We're thinking the same way.
Get out of my head.
All right, so there's all kinds of talk this week too about the detonator. So basically everyone kind of knows about everyone now.
Yeah.
It's kind of on the floor, because Zach's telling stuff, Frankie's telling stuff, Victoria's finally in some conversations. My favorite Victoria moment this week, by the way, was on Wednesday when she's screaming about stuff and she's like, "You guys, you're ruining my game." And I wrote down, what game?
Oh, sweetheart. Yeah.
I know. What game?
What game?
Oh
Where's
my
it
God.
at?
Get those fake contacts out of your eyes and start to see things clearly. Like, serious. Oh my God. But this is the thing. I feel like Victoria is almost like a twist of this summer. Like, Victoria being in the house is adding a new strategic element to the house because it's literally a player who's not even playing, but people are finding ways to utilize her for their game.
That's the twist.
And I feel like that's a twist. I feel like we're at the end of this, Julie's going to be like, and thanks to our actress, Victoria, who played Victoria this summer. She's the mole. Yeah.
All right, so what about Derek?
I think Derek is a front runner to win.
I agree.
And that's what's boring to me about this season. It's just so obvious. He has everything lined up in his favor. I know I saw some conversation on Twitter about how on the feeds people were actually starting to throw Derek's name around, but it's like no one's making that stick. I don't see why people aren't really seeing what Derek's doing.
One thing that I think Derek has done really, really well this year is he listens a lot. And he even said when, the whole thing was going on with Nicole, I'm sitting here taking notes. He's like, I'm sitting in the room watching Zach stir the pot, watching Frankie and Christine get under the bus. I'm just sitting here taking notes about, okay, yeah, that's right. And the thing that he does, I think, better than anyone else is he doesn't go to somebody else after somebody tells him something. He takes the information in and keeps it, uses it to his advantage, but he doesn't run off and tell someone. And you see that with like Zach going and running off and telling somebody, Cody running off and telling somebody.
Yeah, he saves it until he needs to use it.
Right.
Or and so I think I agree with both of you. I think Derek is definitely a front runner. I think he will probably end up winning this season, which will be boring. So I hope whoever comes back in next week, whatever evicted house guest comes back in, I hope they really can stir things up, and I hope they, I don't want Big Brother to continue to be predictable. I want the season to end on a high note, and I need it to continue to be like this past week has been, like completely unpredictable and just crazy things happening all the time.
Well, what wasn't predictable to me was Christine and Nicole both winning HOH. I thought how funny after all of that drama at the double eviction. Yeah, how perfect the two of them winning HOH was. And I was hoping that they were able to really do damage together and finally realize the boys. This is another thing I keep seeing on Twitter, and I love it, is that, with the brigade, you saw the boys kind of string Brittany along, and Brittany really thought she was a part of that alliance, but she was really just at the bottom and used the entire time. Christine, as a super fan, I just wish she would have more common sense to realize you have no game at this point.
Yeah,
you have none.
The boys are just gonna pick you off, and I don't understand. Easy target now. Like, and it's not just a game. Like, I know she knows the game of Big Brother, but it's just like, just being a smart person in general. There is a fly flying around, and it just
a fly on the wall, Big Brother.
Get out of here, Julie.
But yeah, it's just it makes me so sad that the girls every single time there's just
and that's what's funny is Joey tried.
Week 1 and she's gone first.
Yep.
But going back into the Wednesday and the beginning of the episode, Zach's calling out Frankie in front of the house, and there's this big argument between them and Caleb and Cody and about who knows what, who said what. And I like that Derek, he brought them in. He's like, guys, do this, but do it behind closed doors. Don't sit out here in the living room and cuss each other out and throw out everyone under the bus, because we're still in this together. We can still pull out of this. We have numbers. We have, what it takes to get the rest of these people out of here. And he even said that about Frankie. That was dumb that Frankie went and told everyone all about everything that was going on, because they still have numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping, though, because we also saw on Wednesday Zach approach Nicole and say, let's work together.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to suspect that. Like, what do you know? What do I not know? But then he kind of shot himself in the foot when he went to Victoria and did the same thing, and then got back to Derek.
I love that Derek called him out. He pulled everyone in the entire house in the room and said, let's sit down and talk about this. You said this, she said this. Who's lying? And he's like, okay, I lied. And I love when they do that.
Cop.
But that's why I think Derek's going to do really well, and why he's going to win, too. And I think whoever does come back, Derek has done a really good job at not making it personal and still staying off everyone's radar. That whoever comes back, they're going to go after other people like Frankie, but not Derek, when Derek's the one that's orchestrating
Derek has
everything.
no blood on his hands.
None
whatsoever. He just has this is the one thing about Derek, though, is he's playing an amazing social game, but as a competitor, in the challenges, not a front runner in the challenges. So who knows? Maybe if someone's going to get whiff of it, or someone's going to figure it out and want to get rid of him.
You put him up and he doesn't do well in the battle of the ball.
Exactly, or in the veto, and done.
It's gone. Yeah, it could easily happen. All right, so speaking of stirring things up, let's talk about Zach.
Here's the thing with Zach. is I liked him at first. At the beginning I wasn't sure with pre-interviews, and a few episodes in I was like, okay, I'm warming up to him. Just more so recently than before, I just feel like he's all show. Everything he does is for the show. And I don't feel like we really get to know Zach as a person. I feel like he's always yelling at the diary room camera.
Always hates everybody.
His tears are always an act. And you know, if that's his game, then great. But for me, it's just stop yelling at the screen. You're freaking me out. You're making me anxious. I think he could potentially, even though he pisses a lot of people off, I can see him. If Derek doesn't win, I can see Zach winning.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Dr. Will type thing. Like it just. He's very honest about not being likable. Yeah. And
and that was his angle coming in.
That's his angle. And so I agree with you. If they're able to get Derek out, Zach is somebody who I could see could potentially get brought to the end because people think that he won't get as many votes, but he could potentially win because he has all of those guys. If those guys are not next to him, if they're voted out, they will be his jury votes.
Yep. I agree.
Zach, he's like a lovable asshole. Like, he's such a dick, but at the end of the day, you're just like, but it's just Zach.
Oh, it's just Zach.
I feel like he's done a really good job, too, at putting his game out on the table for everyone to see it. That everyone's like, well, Zach's not a threat because we know the game he's playing.
Yeah.
And I think that was his strategy from the get-go is that I'm going to be all show and have everyone think that this is how I'm playing the game and put it out on the table.
And he's even, now converting Christine back to Team Zach. And Christine hated him.
Yeah.
Was so, ready to get him out.
Her HOH blog even said, I will be friends with Zach outside of this house. And I thought the same thing. I thought she was not a fan of Zach.
Well, I like that, as much of a show as it is, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's proven that he's willing to do what it takes. And that's what Nick was saying when he was in here, that he could be a front runner because he's not afraid to make the big moves before somebody else makes them on him.
Right.
So,
but then he tells everybody about his big moves.
It could go either way.
There's pros and cons to it.
There are pros and cons.
We'll see if the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, we'll see.
If he gets in through a couple more weeks, they could.
But this is the thing: if the person, whoever comes back in from the jury, the people the person that person's going to go after is Frankie's gonna be one of them. I hope Derek becomes one of them.
I don't think he will be though. Derek hasn't done it
yet. Change it up, All
right. So speaking of not changing it up, let's talk about Cody.
What is he doing?
Cody!
I mean, that's my reaction too, but if you think about the game and not just the physical.
Yeah, Cody's become the male version of Victoria, but I'm not annoyed by him because he talks about how much he loves Zac Efron.
But he's always saying he's going to do stuff, but he doesn't.
Zac Efron, please, please, please. I need to see you surprise Cody in some way. I need that to happen. Message? Yeah. I don't know, but
Pandora's
somebody,
box.
Pandora's box is a message from Zac Efron. Somebody make that happen because I just think that would be television gold. And it would be so great. And I feel like Zac Efron would be cool with it. I don't know.
I feel like he would be down for it too, right?
If anybody knows Zac Efron, please just show him that scene from Big Brother. Please, please,
Everyone
please.
just start tweeting Zach.
Just start tweeting Zac Efron.
Let's make it a campaign.
For Cody. That's hashtag Cody and Zac Efron. Forever.
I feel like though with the detonators in that group, once everyone's picked off, I feel like he's first to go.
Cody?
Yeah.
I
don't think so.
I don't either.
I think because he's playing that low-key game, whatever game he's playing. But I just think that he's not really... We haven't really seen him perform so well in challenges. He's not a physical threat, but by looking at me,
think about the soccer challenge. He lost first.
Yeah.
Soccer's his thing.
No, but it was literally you were slingshotting a foot. It had nothing to do with soccer.
But I think since he positioned himself so well with Derek, I don't think he's aware of the game Derek's playing, but I think that Cody's going to get strung along.
And his relationship with Christine.
Yeah.
Nicole...
Let's talk about that relationship.
Okay, can we talk about this?
Yep, we're there.
This is why.
Let's keep it real.
I've kind of noticed it a little bit in watching just the way they've been sitting in this week's episodes.
Yeah.
But then tonight's episode, I think Nicole is exactly right. Christine's married, and she is all over him. And I understand when you're in a situation whether it's Big Brother, Survivor, any type of reality show, and you have somebody that you do have a connection with, even if it's platonic, like, you know, you might.
It's comfort.
It's comfort.
Exactly.
It's comfort. But come on, like, I don't know. It just like have a little bit more respect for your husband. Maybe they have a relationship where
Maybe
that's
they've talked about it before. He
Maybe
said,
they
listen,
have.
this is all game. It's nothing personal.
but-
You know.
But that could always be her excuse too.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems very weird. But I would be okay if Christine and Cody started like I would rather see Christine and Cody get further than Cody and Derek.
I agree.
Well, you know.
Derek deserves to win the game. Let's be
does,
real.
that's- yeah.
But as far as being a fan and a viewer, it's just so predictable that the cards are in his favor that it would just be nice to see that card tower tumble and have someone else.
Like Jenga. I was actually watching the live feeds this week.
They were playing
funny
Jenga.
enough, and they were playing Jenga.
Well, then let's keep talking about Christine since we're right there.
Yeah.
Where's her game at right now?
I think I'm a little disappointed as a super fan. Like I said, I feel like she should just be a little bit more wise about the moves she's making.
Did the move she make this week ruin her game?
Absolutely.
Is she
Yeah.
done now because of voting out Nicole?
Done.
She won't get a vote from Jocasta, Hayden, or Nicole, and that's 3 votes that are right there. So I don't know. I just don't, unless she puts up a really good fight at the end and have a really good proposal, I just don't see her and Frankie, I don't see winning at all.
Or
They're
if
just the only
somebody
two.
comes back in, or whoever comes back in, she flips with them and gets a couple other people to flip, then she has a chance. But other than that,
Well, that's what you and I, Keetin, were talking about a couple weeks ago, that we were hoping we could see a full house flip because they had the numbers. If Christine would have flipped to the other side sooner, that they could have taken out the entire Detonator group. Mm-hmm. And they had the numbers with Victoria and Donnie and Jocasta and Nicole to do that, and they basically didn't. And it's, I mean, pretty much, I think Christine is the main focal point of that, which side would have taken over.
She would have been in a
have-
better position by being with the other side of the house.
Absolutely,
And I
than
think
being
she
the lone
could have
girl.
gone to the top 2 and potentially could have done some damage.
Well, and that's
But
what
I don't
we were
think now
saying. If she
anymore.
would have made the move to get the flip to happen, her and Nicole could have basically orchestrated this flip,
Right.
where the whole other side of the half bands together as like the outcasts, essentially.
Yep. And that was the whole point of why they aligned to begin with. Her, Hayden, and Nicole.
Right. All right. So, moving right along, we got to talk about the veto competition because Otev shows up.
Otev!
That was
I
all.
love Otev. I love him so
Good
much.
old
and I
Gilbert
like,
Godfrey.
It was great that it was Gilbert Godfrey, and I like that. I like that Frankie did recognize that it was Gilbert.
I mean, how do you
Godfrey's
not
voice,
recognize that voice?
and gave him a shout out. And you know, it was kind of also like just this is kind of a flashback. It made the memories of Robin Williams come back because he played Godfrey played Iago in Aladdin, and Robin Williams played the genie. So you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to Robin Williams and his friends and his family, and just it's absolutely devastating. But yeah, he was somebody who left us with laughter and stuff. But yeah, so it was nice a little throwback to Aladdin with Otev this week.
The crackers and all. Yeah, so Zach wins the veto this week, takes himself off the block. That's when Nicole gets put back up with Donnie. So we have basically our people that are about to get voted out this week. And go on. You had something. I saw it in your face.
No, I'm just still thinking about Robin Williams. It just really makes me sad.
Oh my God.
It's like that was
I just
so
have a lot of
heartbreaking.
feelings. My thing with the veto is I was so bummed because I knew that if Nicole or Donnie didn't win, that they were going to be up next to each other at the end of the week.
I know.
Again, Christine being a super fan, it's just so aggravating that she literally took the bait that Caleb gave her and said Nicole was talking about backdooring you. And that was when she
fell for it,
panicked
right.
and fell for it
She
so
panicked
quickly.
when they took it to her.
And it's just like, really? I was just bummed because those are my 2 favorites. And I think they're the most fun to watch. They're the most enjoyable to root for, Nicole and Donnie. So
Well,
them up together, I'm just
Lucky
frustrated.
for you, we only have Donnie left to talk about.
I know, but it's still not enough.
Donnie, my North Carolina brother.
He's not going to last longer.
I have a feeling unless Donnie wins veto or I bet you they're gonna try to backdoor him. I bet you they won't nominate him, and they're gonna try to backdoor him.
He's been killing in the veto competition.
Exactly. So, but if he gets chosen for veto, he's gonna
Well, fear the beard. That's it. Hashtag
Fear the beard. I love Donnie.
The best ending to this season would be him winning.
Oh, that'd
Absolutely.
be amazing.
Because that would be an underdog story. It'd be a hero edit, and it would just be one of those things where it was just so unpredictable. Because at the beginning, you thought all the odds were against him for him being
and they
so
are.
Donnie.
They're still against him because he's so nice and so
Yeah.
likable. And it's surprising that he's still in, honestly, this far.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like they can keep him a little longer because he's not a huge threat. But he kind of,
And everyone that leaves, every time Julie asks them questions, it's always Donnie that they love.
They love Donnie. Everyone
Yeah.
loves Donnie, and they would all vote for Donnie. All right, so Team America didn't go for their mission this week because Donnie's on the block to convince another house guest to go up as a pawn and then vote against them and vote them out. Of course, Team
Let's
America.
talk about Team America.
Where are we going with that?
I think it needs to go away.
It's boring.
It's
like,
boring.
pointless now.
It's just
not
dumb.
doing
It's not
anything.
adding anything. And if anything, it's just 3 people getting extra money in their pocket. And
that's what I was telling Keaton. I've heard, and when we had Bunky in, that he was saying that they find reasons to give people they like more money, and they use this as like a tool. It's like, oh, here's a competition that you can win some more money because we like you.
I hope Frankie gives all that money to.
It's all going to the children in Africa?
I mean, I feel like we would have heard that in episode 1 if that's
Episode
really
1,
how he felt.
maybe.
Or in pre-game interviews. I never heard anything
All
about
right, so
school.
Team
Or
America
about
does have a
any
mission this
charity.
week too that they're being voted on, basically to create a distraction and hide house guests' clothes, and then create the neighborhood watch for it, which seems kind of stupid to me. So I hope B is what's picked, which is basically weekend other players' games by keeping them up for 24 hours.
And I think that's funnier.
I think that's funny too because
I
they're gonna be
think-
like, "Stop waking me up."
They're
And-
going to keep Zach up for 24 hours.
Or I feel like it's gonna be whoever they get put up on the block this week that has the battle of the block
No, I
competition.
think if they're gonna pick whoever's just easiest.
Make them bet. Like, I bet you can't stay up 24 hours with me.
I bet. I mean,
Oh,
that
good
you would get
point.
Zach that quickly. Like it's gonna be.
Yeah.
They're gonna just pick whoever's gonna be.
It's gonna be
easiest.
random and easy.
I mean, freaking like Amber. We're gonna the biggest physical threat.
And
Amber.
then they get $10,000.
5,000 each.
5,000 each. It's so annoying.
Yeah, annoying.
All right, so Frankie, Caleb, and Christine go to Texas this week to watch the Cowboys training camp for the Thursday Night Football promo for CBS.
So cool.
Jason
oh my
Witten, Tony
God.
Romo, Des Bryant. What?
I would freaking love to do this. That was so awesome. I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I'm a Packers fan, but seriously, the Cowboys as a team I could get behind. And they were so nice, and everybody, it just looked like so much fun. And did they, where was that? Did they fly
They were
there?
in Texas.
It was here in LA.
So they,
Was it LA?
really?
There was a training camp here because they showed them driving and it said Ventura. It had like all these LA names.
So I could actually go.
It's probably too late.
Are they
now.
here? Ugh.
Sorry. We'll call Julie Chen and get us in, and also
Julie,
we'll pick up
looking
Zac Efron on the way.
great tonight,
They could
Julie.
have flown.
Prepare.
I mean, I don't know. Just to me, it looked like LA.
I don't know.
Well, it was at first when they were driving, but then they cut to the scene and they see the sign that says Texas on it
Oh, really?
when they were in before they did the football cheer. So
Oh,
I'm
you're
sure they
right.
flew
They
them.
probably
I'm
went
sure
to
they flew them to
Texas.
Texas.
That would make the most
They could have
sense.
taken the bus there. It's only 12-hour drive, whatever. I don't know. You could get there pretty quickly. It's only 17 hours across Texas. All right, so this week's HOH competition goes down. It's a zombie apocalypse in the house.
Oh my God, I would not be able to sleep. That was so scary.
Derek and Frankie win the competition based on all the guesses and the information that was given to them. That was creepy. Nicole was flipping out because she was already talking about being afraid of ghosts.
Nicole would have won this HOH.
Absolutely.
I think so too, because that's all the stuff that she gets.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about what's
She didn't get to see Zingbot.
and Zingbot. Yeah, so we find out.
Unless you
So here's some stuff we know that's coming up. Zingbot's coming up next week.
with a twist, right?
There's no more double HOH next Thursday.
Thank
Yep.
God.
That's
What
gone.
time?
And then the 4 people that, based on right now, with Jocasta, Hayden, Nicole, and whoever's voted out this week, have the potential to come back into the game.
Woohoo!
So those are things we have to look forward to. Let's talk about predictions on what we think's gonna happen.
There we go.
Oh my God! There's a zombie in here.
TV.
Prediction.
Okay, so Derek and Frankie win the HOH. Who do we see up on the block?
That's a really good question. I definitely think Donnie's a shoo-in, and I think Victoria's a shoo-in this
Obviously,
week.
but then who's left? Caleb and Zach.
I think that Derek could potentially nominate Caleb,
I see Caleb.
but if Frankie nominates Caleb first, then I think maybe Derek would be forced to nominate Christine.
Christine's going up. 100% Christine's going up.
And maybe that's when she'll finally wake up and realize that she's
Please,
at the
Christine!
bottom.
But it'll be too late. She's gonna get voted out this week if that's what goes down.
Lord Almighty.
I hope not, though, because what I would like to see is Nicole coming back and Nicole and Christine taking over the game.
You think Christine 100% is going up?
Oh, 100% going up.
Yeah.
100%.
It's gonna be Christine, Donnie, and Victoria, and then Caleb.
I think that's pretty predictable of what's going to
Christine
happen.
on one side, Caleb on the other, with one of the.
All right, so then who wins? Then who's left? Who's on the block?
I think whatever side has Victoria will be up on the block.
Poor Victoria.
Which I hope, because that
So
would
they'll
keep.
probably,
they
put,
put
they'll probably
Christine-
put Donnie and Victoria up next against each other, and then they'll put two of the strong boys up against each other.
Because
So
then the two
strong
that
boys
win-
will win, come down, and Victoria.
So did you
and
see
Donnie
Derek
will go up.
getting the opportunity to put the weaker people up so that Derek stays HOH?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his.
Because
on his game.
Frankie also
he'll convince-
probably doesn't want blood on his hands.
He'll
so
convince Frankie
yep,
that it's.
he will absolutely
And it's not even really that much blood because they've all been up. How many times has Donnie been up? Like
every
Four,
time.
it'll
Poor
be 4
Donnie.
times, maybe.
poor Donnie.
Donnie.
He'll stay though. He won't go home against Victoria.
Today
No.
to Zach.
He has no friends.
Oh, God,
There were so many great like
Donnie.
moments this week of like one-on-one conversations with like
Yeah.
because it's getting emotional. You know, people are starting to stab each other in the back.
Starting to
and
crack.
It's starting to get crazy. They've been in there 50+ days. It's getting crazy. All right, that's our show, AfterBuzz TV, Big Brother.
Woo!
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week to talk more. Hey, James Wallington, where can the fans find out more about you?
They can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at Mr. James Wally and on the Quest after shows every Thursday before this one.
Keetin Marchi?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Keetin Marchi. I changed it.
Oh, snap.
And
No more
on,
Keetin M.
I said on Twitter and on Instagram at KeetinM33. It's being changed as
Hey,
well.
hey, Keetin Marchi, how do you spell that for people that don't know how to spell Marchi?
KeetinMarchi.
Oh, it's not a K, it's a CHI?
It's a CHI.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Also on the Outlander after show, me and my boy Ryan here,
snap.
you'll see us there
Outlander
together.
panel. And as
Check
always,
Outlander
you
out,
can
yeah.
find me at RyanHooks92 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Also in the Outlander panel with Miss Keetin Marchi every Sunday.
Woo!
Guys, that's our show. We'll see you next week. AfterBuzz
Bye,
TV.
everybody.
Later.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.